Hi, I'm Sergio Stark. I'm not a cloud engineer, I'm just a human being. I don't see myself as an engineer. Why I say that? Because it's important for me, and I hope you remember that. So, first of all, this is the only thing that you have to remember for tonight. The only thing, okay? If you get that, it's easy because you'll get online, you'll search for that, and you'll see a lot of stuff that is already presented here. Okay, so please don't forget that. Okay, so I'm working with Cloudbase. It's a Romanian company. It's based in Timișoara. It is a great company, and they know a lot of stuff about OpenStack and Microsoft. They are bridging the gap between these two worlds, and they are something like a bridge. If you know from computing, you have a network interface in one place, it can be 10 megabit, and you have another network interface in another place, it can be another card with 10 gigabit, but the bridge can connect these two worlds, and they look the same. This is exactly what Cloudbase can do with OpenStack and Microsoft. I'll give a short intro, and after that the demo. Demo is very physical, because we get physical, baby, okay? So here I have network unit computing, okay? This is a mini PC, but it's very powerful. Some of you, I think you already know it. But what it's interesting is that this is connected with a Lego robot, and you'll see what you can do with that. And it's very, very physical, everything. Okay? I'll try to connect it. Okay, I hope it will work. So, I told you about Hyper-C, okay? That means hyper-converged. So, the traditional deployments in cloud solutions implies to have a dedicated storage, which takes a lot of space, takes a lot of money, takes a specialized team to administrate it. I also have a colleague here that when I am asking for storage disk, he gave me a lot of headaches because he had to go through his stuff. So that has been changed with hyperconverged, because in a cloud environment, which is hyperconverged, all hosts are equal. That means in the services they can provide. That means this one and this one and this one and this one are all the same. They can do the same services, even that they have different hardware configuration. Okay? So a node can take place of a storage and can also provide RAM and CPU for virtual instances. you don't need a separated hardware to connect them. And you can use commodity hardware. That means cheap hardware. Okay, like this one. So this is the equivalent of a rack in a data center. I think it costs 100 million in all play, and a new rack costs a lot of money. Okay. So for a normal setup, we have the OpenStack Nano Server. This is coming from Microsoft. Hyper-V, also from Microsoft. Storage Spaces Direct, which is an improved, it's the next version, it's an improved version of Storage Spaces. It's a crazy stuff. This is the stuff that makes storage on commodity hardware possible. Okay. MAS, which is a service that can provide physical servers and also virtual servers, and Juju, which is an orchestration platform. And we combine all of this together, and we obtain a very nice infrastructure. So we use a lot of programming languages and this kind of infrastructure. Python, PowerShell for Juju charts. Juju is very written on Go, so this is a very new language. It is very nice. OpenSwitch was ported by Cloudbase from Linux to Windows, and it's written in C. So actually we have very good guys that can write kernel drivers for Windows, and they can put that to work with OpenStack. And this is a typical setup of OpenStack. You have compute nodes, you have network node, you have quantum or neutron server, Nova services, Keystone, Horizon, a normal and a typical configuration. And we can also have that with OpenStack and Microsoft. That's the important aspect. You don't have to use Linux for all the platform. You can also use Microsoft with Hyper-V. Okay, so storage space is there. Is the part that takes care of the data that is stored. So instead of having a lot of disks that can do write on local storage, you can mirror the data through network. You can also have SMB Direct and RDMA, which gives you a lot of performance, hardware performance, and this is also supported. And this is how an architecture looks like if you are trying to combine OpenStack and Hyper-V and storage space direct. So here we have local disk. You also have OpenSwitch. You also have distributed virtual router, single volume, Nova compute nodes which are running with Hyper-V. It's a normal infrastructure. It's a typical infrastructure. And now about the things that makes everything work, because you have a lot of components there, and you need to make them work together. So you cannot. One of the components is MAS, metal as a service. You can very easily discover new hardware on your infrastructure. You just power on the hardware, and and MAS will see the new hardware, and it can help you to manage it very easily. And it can also support IPMI or other BMC options. And for that, here we have commodity hardware. We cannot use IPMI. It costs a lot to have this, and I can show you how we use it. One second. So this is mass. Here you can see the network infrastructure, and here I have those network unit computing closed, and now I'll try to power them on. And because I don't have an IPMI, I'll try to do a trick for that. So this is a robot that just pushes a button. Okay? Now I have exactly the functionality that an IPMI can give me with power on and power off. Okay? I don't need to be to the server and power it on. And we can do also with the other nodes because I need them in this demonstration. So, to make an idea, all of these are connected to the KVM switch and will output to the monitor, just to see that they are starting. But we will control them remotely after that. Okay, so power it on. The second one, and also we can go with the other ones. So, I also powered the other one. What I wanted to know is to show you is here is just a Lego controller. It's just the body of a robot. You can put arms, you can put legs, you can put wheels, a lot of stuff. You can put sensors, a lot of things on it. But we just took the arms, broken down, and use it to push this mechanism that can press the button. Okay? So now we have a full data center. Everything works exactly as in a data center, but 10 times lower as a cost, which is very, very nice. Okay? Okay, so with mask, we fix the first part, okay? To control how the servers are started or closed. But we also need to control the services that are installed on those physical servers, okay? Because these are working as a team, okay? If you know those 4 powers, fire, what were air, and okay, all together they form a team, okay, and they can help you to provide the entire infrastructure. And there are a lot of stuff to take into consideration when you provide an infrastructure like this, because okay, you have everything cheaper in commodity hardware, but it's pretty more complicated to manage it, okay? So here, for that we have Juju. This is maybe, so this is a good automation deployment platform. I still have to learn a lot about them, so I will not say for the moment if it is the best or not. I still have to see, compare with other platforms, because I also use a lot of platforms. But what is important is that Cloudbase can provide you charms, Okay? Char is something that you put it in your infrastructure and it works. It works like a char. Okay? So if you have, for example, an Active Directory service, which gives you a lot of headache to configure. I remember when I was working with a lot of companies that they cannot enlist it automatically on a workstation to their Active Directory server because an administrator has to go physically to that workstation and type the password, which is stupid because I don't know, make a robot that types the password. I don't know, but I don't need to go there to insert that password. It is stupid. And the guys from Cloudbase found a way to do that because they know a lot of stuff about Windows. They compiled a lot of things and they found a way to do it and to make it work. And to make you an idea, this is how many things Cloudbase can do for Microsoft solutions installed on OpenStack. Okay, so you don't have an OpenStack with Linux, you have OpenStack which is free, but it can deploy instances and services based on this. And who work with Microsoft solutions, enterprise solutions? Can you give me some? Okay. You people. But I can assure you, for sure, that this one is very hard to implement. This one can take you days. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Active Directory or Exchange, or for the cluster storage, you can also automate that. For the VDI, Skype for Business is the old software called Link, and it's very, very frustrating to install it. You need to do a lot of stuff, but with Juju and these charts, you can literally install it in half an hour and just do something else in that time. And what is nice about Juju and about Juju charts is that Juju makes it sure that every relation that you have within all the charts are provided. So you don't have to take into consideration what happens because it's a state machine and it will take care that things will go as you create it, as you concept it to go. Okay. This is the Juju graphical user interface. I don't know if you can see, but I don't see it either, but I think it's good. One second. So, this is storage space direct, which can be provided automatically. This is the proxy, because if you need to open storage, if you need to deploy storage spaces direct on how we are doing it, you can use Windows Nano Server. And Windows Nano Server, it's a new implementation from Microsoft. You have to try it and to see it. It's a bare minimal Windows installation that can do exactly what do you want to do. It's a Windows that takes only 700 megabytes instead of 20 gigs. It's a lot less. That means less updates. That means that your server needs to restart not so often. That means a bigger uptime. That means also the deployment time can be done very, very fast because the image itself is very small. And on that image, which is very small, you have less features. you don't have all the features, but this S2D proxy can leverage the bigger features, if I could say so, and can fix that for you. So you can really go with Windows Nano Server. And you should try it. Technical preview version 5 is coming very soon. I think in 2 weeks or something like that. I'm not sure, but you should try it because it's very nice. Okay, getting back. This is Nova Hyper-V. This is Glass. I can see it very well. This is MySQL. This is RabbitMQ. So these are all the services that you need to provide in an OpenStack environment so that everything will work flawlessly. A lot of components, a lot of them, but they are installed automatically. And for example, our environment can be installed in under 1 hour. And it implies an Active Directory, it implies a cluster made of 4 nodes, it implies everything you see there. Everything also that OpenStack needs. Compute, controller for network, and also the RabbitMQ and the Keystone, Horizon, everything that has, everything that you need in OpenStack can be configured automatically. Okay, this is how it started. I have a slide if you could not see that, but I really want you to come by and check it after that. You can play with that and to see where it's at. And I should try to do a demo. And after that I'll show you more stuff, but you remember that in Hyper-C, if you search it, it will go here and other articles. And I hope you will do that after the presentation. Okay, so let's try to do this. Okay, this is Moss. We already deployed some nodes. This is the actual implementation with a lot of services configured. Okay. So on top of this infrastructure, we provided OpenStack. Second, I have to log in again. Okay. So it looks like normal OpenStack, but the main difference is that those hypervisors are installed on Hyper-V. Okay? I have to reboot it. Like that. Okay, I'll have to reboot it to see the output. So the idea is the Hyper-V role, it's installed on a Nano server, which is deployed on those VMs. Okay, and I don't really have much time, but I'll try also to show you how Juju looks like, how everything is seen by Juju. Yes, your phone. I usually work with large screens. So, it's my fault that I didn't take care of that. Okay. Bigger? Yeah. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay. So there is a lot of information here. So the idea is that in Juju you can see all the machines that are implied in installing those services. These names are generated automatically by mass. It can give you a nice name because it's easier to remember them. You also have services which are running on top of the VMs, and you can see all of them. And you also have more details about charms. But the important thing is that this is showing how the relations are established between every services, every charms. And it's not the actual status of the infrastructure. It's only the things that are taking care about the deployment. Okay? And for example, one of the VM, it's the Active Directory VM. In that Active Directory VM, all the nodes are registered. So, for example, you can enter and see details about the storage direct. Okay, so now now I enter from the Active Directory VM, and this Active Directory, it's actually a nano server. It is very small, but it has the Active Directory role installed. Okay, it's not a fully graphical interface. Actually, it's Windows without Windows. Okay, and from that one, I enter with a remote PowerShell session to the one of the nodes. I think this is the first node. And from there, so that cluster storage, it's actually the cluster which is installed automatically between nodes. Okay, and here actually are the instances from OpenStack stored. Okay, so if you go to OpenStack and look for instances, okay, these are two instances which are deployed on OpenStack. And here, a second. Here we have their virtual disk stored. Okay. You can also check a lot of stuff about the cluster itself. Let's try. And then this because I also have to cover some parts that are interested by the guys who are doing Hyper-V stuff, Microsoft stuff, because this presentation is also about Microsoft. solutions which are integrated with OpenStack. So an important thing is to see how the sessions are working. Okay. Okay, so these are normal commands that you can do with in normal PowerShell. And here, for example, I set degraded disk. Okay, so you can check stuff like that. Okay. So everything here is installed via Juju with mouse automatically on this network unit computing, and everything is stored here. No other extra storage servers, no other firewalls or routers. Everything is worked in the OpenStack way. Okay? So, for this part, if you have questions about OpenStack and Windows, you can ask directly Microsoft, and they will work with us to do stuff. So there's those charms, a lot of charms that can do a lot of nice things. So you don't write it to Cloudbase. You say, hey dude, I have this problem with Windows. I know that you are the only guys that can fix that. Because you actually write code and we put it on GitHub. You can see on GitHub that code, which is written by Cloudstack. It's like Cloudbase. Okay? And you can ask Microsoft things about OpenStack, and we also receive it. And this is one of our lines. And I also wanted to, I think also Adi wants to say something about the end of the presentation.
Yeah, short thing before I leave the questions onto Sergio. We are also hiring. We have a big team in Timișoara. We have recently opened an office in Iași. We plan to expand to Cluj-Napoca and Bucharest as well. If you're interested in finding out more, reach out to us. We're going to go for beers. We have 4 people from Timișoara present here, and we'll talk more. Okay, questions?
If you have questions, we can ask. Or maybe we can talk about after.
So the Juju controller is where is it running?
Juju controller?
Yes. So where is the Juju controller running?
In this environment?
In this particular scenario.
So that's a good question. The magic happens here. Everything stays here. Okay,
so you have a separate server that is
yes, but this is running a lot of stuff here. And not directory because you need storage space there. You also have a lot of virtual machines, and inside those virtual machines are running Linux containers, which are doing a lot of services. And this is actually taken care by Mas and Juju. This is the life of dolls. It's actually the name generated by Mas, but it's the machine that is taking care all about the services. Here in Mas, you just specify that these tag services needs to be used in order to provide everything. So this is the third node, and here let me show. So on the third node are all the services, but you can also see them on Juju, how they were provided. For example, Neutron API, it's on the VM with ID2, and it's a Linux container with ID3, okay? And MySQL, it's also installed on the same machine. But you can also see this from Juju, and all the services that they had they installed. Okay, and it says where it's installed. These are services, but you can also check machines. Okay. So, if you have more questions, no problem to ask.
One more questions here. So is Mas and Juju production ready? Are they? Because several months ago I tried it and Mas especially.
Okay. Mas is actually done by Canonical. And Cloudbase also works with Canonical and Microsoft and other top-level vendors. Okay, and because Mas is supported by Canonical, and at Canonical there is a crazy guy which is very, very thorough with everything what it does. And I suppose he put a lot of pressure on the team because he wanted an enterprise-based product. And let me show you how do they treat this. If I can see the documentation. Get started. They show you how to put it. Docs. Okay. So when I'm reading a documentation, if I see this, I'm very excited. Okay. I don't care what the solution does because I already know that. But they are starting with this, with the release notes. Okay. And if you are trying to read the documentation, you'll just find a lot of stuff from their changelog. So look how many things they've done and they take into consideration from the last version. Okay?
Like bug fixes or something.
Not only, because you have fabrics, spaces, subnet, parameters. I don't know what is that. Okay? I'll have to see, but the idea is that they're taking into consideration a lot of stuff. Not only the scripts or the things they are putting into the server, but also the feature that they put. And for example, they say something about.
Okay, let me try to rephrase. You have 10, 20 machines. You personally, would you use Mas and Juju on those machines in production? Cut it short.
I would use. Yes. I will use Mas because I've tried to do something like that before, and it is very hard. And this is 10 times better than what I could done. So maybe maybe it's not the best answer. Maybe I'm not the correct person to ask, but if you ask me, I will tell you yes, you can use Mas, and this is the best metal deployment platform that we have today, from my point of view. And you should read the documentation and to see how do they treat things, okay?
And one more question, would you run an SQL server on those commodity hardware?
At this moment, no, but we can run.
No. Would you run? Not if you can run.
On the commodity hardware? Why not? It depends what you want to do. It depends. Because you have failover, you have, so everything in there, it's clustered. If a node fails, the other nodes already have the data. There are also chunks that are taking care of everything, which means to deploy a cluster, and they also fix things for the quorum and a lot of stuff. And maybe it's hard to do it, but you have to try it. Okay? You just, for example, it only takes. So if you go to our website, we have on our blog a lot of articles with that very, very, very thoroughly documented about these solutions. And you just have to download the code from the Git and try it for yourself to believe it. It's hard. If you do not try it, it's hard to believe it. Okay.
Okay, if there are no more questions, thanks for
There are
presenting.
one question.
So you said it's failover, right? How do you advertise that to Nova? The cluster that's just demoed, you said that it has the capability of doing the failover, so basically a highly available instance.
So
It's done. Misunderstand that.
Yes, it's done on the Microsoft way, on how Microsoft does it. We just deploy it.
Yes, but Nova basically keeps track where your instance is in the compute node. So how do you inform Nova of the change?
Of the change, but Juju doesn't take care about that. It only provides you a safe way to provide the service. But it doesn't take care, you have to monitor that. Because on OpenStack, you need to understand that every service can disappear at any time. So you have to design a platform with that idea in mind. Okay? You don't have to, the platform doesn't take care. It's your job to take care of what is running there. So I hope that can answer to your question, because it's about the mentality, or how do you think this kind of service. It's not about how can you do it.
Okay, thanks Sergio, thank you all for coming. We're going to send you the slides the following days, with also resources from the speakers, the presentation, the pictures, probably tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I'd like to hand over the mic to Daniel to close the meetup.
First of all, as Adrian mentioned, you'll have access to all the materials that we already recorded. The whole meetup was recorded and broadcasted online. You can also see the movie if you didn't understand everything very correct or very accurate. So you will have the registration. And we would like to have your opinion about this meeting. If you like it, what you didn't like it, so feel free to give us feedback on that. And we would like your participation for the next meeting. We plan to have it after the Austin, Texas OpenStack Summit, which would be about 25th to 28th, I think, April. So after that, probably in May, somewhere, we'll have a meeting and we will bring news. The colleagues from Cloudbase Solution will be present in Austin, so they will have a very fresh impression about it. If you would like to see some presentation or some special topic on our next meeting, please give us a feedback. Tell us what you would like to see and whom would you like to see in. Probably you want to see some person or some other company who developed. So they speak a lot about Juju from Canonical. Probably we have time to invite these kind of people. Tell us what you think about it. Anyway, you will receive an email from our database. And we will forward it, all the information from this meeting, so just give a reply to that. So, and thank you all for the participation.